Hey, Sinead.
What up, Brady?
Yesterday, we were talking with Brittany, and I asked her how she felt about the team defense, whether it was ready for the season starting in a few days. And she looked at the camera and said, quote me, it's going to be scary. How are you
Who was
feeling?
this?
What'd you say?
Who said that?
Brittany.
Oh, sorry, we call her Slim, so I was like, who the heck is Brittany?
Oh, my bad.
Who's Brittany?
No, she's very, very confident, said that with her whole chest. How are you feeling about the defense going into the season as a team?
One thing that Coach LT has always said, and she wears a defensive t-shirt every game, is that defense is our bread and butter. And if you look statistically, the LA Sparks always bring it on D. And so I absolutely agree. That is the standard. That is the goal. Our defense has to be scary. Like, that's the mentality we're bringing. So that's part of our identity as a team. I don't see that changing.
Megan Hines.
What up, Megan?
Hi, Chiney. I just want to know, since the documentary is coming out at the end of the week, how are you feeling about it, and what's been like the most rewarding experience just being a part of that project?
I am so relieved for the documentary to be coming out on 44 this Thursday so that I can focus on the season on Friday. I've been trying to juggle and balance it all, and this is such an amazing story. It's a testament to the women, the 144, that we're so proud to call family. And so I think my favorite part is just being a part of a process with my producers, Lauren Stoll, Jenna Contreras, Allison Gaylor, 4 women behind the scenes that have brought this to life. And then it's for the women of the W who absolutely deserve to have their moment on the big screen. And so it's been a long process, but it's been one of the most rewarding experiences, being able to help amplify the work of my sisters of the league. So everyone, I'm so excited, and I hope everyone enjoys it on Thursday.
John W. Davis.
I know that you didn't play on Saturday. Where would you judge your fitness level heading into Friday's game?
I don't know. I don't know what I put in work to be ready, and we all know that there's one thing about being strength and conditioning ready, practice ready, training camp ready, and game ready. And I think at this point, I can't wait to be out there, because we know that, every athlete will tell you being out there just feels different, the wind, the air. And so I can't tell you oh, I'm gonna be, you know what I mean? We know that it takes some time. And so I'm just happy to be back and to have an opportunity to hoop and play. And I know I might be huffing and puffing in this, just because it's been a year and a half for me, but I'm trusting in the work that I put in the off season on my body, trusting in Coach Derek Fisher, who a lot of people don't know, he found ways for me to get not only in a gym, but training out here in LA with the best of the best at Proactive Sports. And so, I've put myself through the test, and I know that game day is gonna be an adjustment because it's been a while for me, but I feel like a kid that's excited for the first day of school, and that's the way every season should be. So your girl is hyped. And yeah, I might be huffing and puffing a little bit, we'll joke about it, but I will get right for the battle.
One in the chat here from Beak Lewison about the game Friday. It says, how prepared are you to face the #1 pick in the 2021 WBA draft on Friday?
It doesn't matter who our opponent is. I think that's one thing about this team. We focus on ourselves. And I'm just happy that Friday is a game day. It doesn't matter who we play against. For me, it's just being able to be back there. That is one thing that I've worked so hard for. Also, we just had an amazing training camp. We ended the training camp on a huddle where we all just talked about how the energy, the enthusiasm, the foundation we've built through this training camp, through our work, that's something that we have never experienced before. That's how great it has been. And so on Friday, we're just gonna let that work show for itself. And excited to play against Dallas, but more so excited to play with this team that has something really special going on.
Alexa Philippou with the Hartford Courant.
Hi, Chiney.
Hey.
I wanted to follow up on Megan's questions about the documentary. And I was curious if you could tell us a little bit about how you formulated the idea to do a documentary in the first place, and then also how you were involved or trying to stay involved.
Hey, Alexa. The documentary came to be, I always tell people, one of the hardest decisions for me was opting out of last year, being a part of the negotiation of the bubble with my sister in Houston, and then realizing, hold on, like the limited timeline for me to return to play. 2 weeks out of our home, I needed to see my doctors, and my body has dealt with different challenges, and so opting out of the season last year was heartbreak. And I made it my mission as I was training and rehabbing to use my platform at ESPN to try to help amplify the work of the W, because we've been on so many conversations about what could happen using the platform for social justice and competing for a championship and all the great advocacy that was going to happen. And so I was like, all right, call my agent, Allison Gaylor, and I was like, yo, what can we do? We should capture this content of 144 in the bubble, because I had a call with Mecca. Mecca was like, you won't believe, like all players in one place. Long story short, called Kathy Engelbert, went into the ESPN directory, looked, saw ESPN Films, and we all came together on a group call. And next thing you know, based on our trust and our partnership, a film was born that I'm executive producing and super proud of. And I would just say that this has been something that ever since we got that green light, I believe it was July 10th, 2020, I've spent hours each and every day making sure the story is right so that the 144 would be proud of what this became and its history. And so I am excited, I'm nervous, but at the same time, I'm extremely grateful to have teammates like Kathy and our Players Association and our Players Period and ESPN, so that everyone was on the same team so that this came to life. And it's been fun. And again, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN.
Perfect way to end. Thank you, Shanae. Taya Cooper will be next.
She ready.
You can raise your hand. All right, thanks, media. We'll get started now. Go over to John W. Davis.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
I'm good, John. How you doing?
Doing well. So I was wondering if you could help clarify something for me. I don't claim to be an expert on CBA or salary cap. So with that in mind, if you are going to maintain Maria Vadiva's rights, does she have to be on your 12 opening roster, or do you have some sort of leeway there if you still want her to be available to play after the Olympic break?
Yes, if we, and right now that is part of our plan at the moment. We'll continue to discuss things over the next couple of days, but her salary cap would count as part of our salary cap calculations, space, etc. And she would be one of the 12 players we'd have on our roster, and then she'd report closer to Olympic break or right after. And then we'd pick up from there. We would have, depending on what other decisions we'd make, if Masha's still part of our 12, we'd have a couple dates in June where we'd have enough cap space to, sign a player to, 7 or 10 day contracts, and, kind of, if we need some support to get through, we'd have enough cap space to do some of those things at later dates. But if we want her to be available to play this season, yes, her salary would count in our overall cap number for 2021.
Great. During the last few days, I've talked with Chiney and Brittany about the team's readiness on defense going into the season opener, and they both expressed a ton of confidence that you can come out of the gates as an elite defensive team. How are you feeling from a team defense standpoint? It's obviously kind of been your calling card for a little while now. How ready do you feel the team is to be a very strong defensive team from game one?
No, I think they're both right from a personnel standpoint. I do believe we're already positioned to be really good on the defensive end right from day one. I think once we make some decisions and decide what that 12 player roster looks like, it'll contribute to what additional versatility you do or don't have, but we have all of the components that you need, I think, to be an elite defensive team. And, we have a lot to work on, and saying that, like, we definitely won't be at our best on Friday night, but we do have enough to be really good right away, and then hopefully position ourselves to improve as the season goes on, and be able to not just start out maybe good, but also to be really elite and consistent as an elite defensive team for the entire season.
One question in the chat from Rafiq Lucen. What is the importance of winning a season opener as a player and coach?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Like, I think in particular when like fans are involved, I think you always want to, try and win opening night at home. Like, it just feels like it's the right thing to do. People, planned in their day and in their life to come and support the team, and you want to reward them with a victory. I think in this case this year, because we won't be in that case, you of course you still just want to go out and play well and win the game. Like, it just feels like that's how you want to start the season. But it doesn't always happen that way. There have been, in my experience, teams that have won the championship the year before, and you lose opening night, which is ring night, and you just lose the first game of that next season. But there's 31 games to go, so you just can't read too much into it. But I think being an elite team starts with being really, really good at home, and so our first chance to establish that type of dominance at home is on Friday, and hopefully we can figure it out.
Mr. Miller?
Thank you, Eli. Derek, how are you today?
Good, Chris, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. I just wanted to ask you, you kind of commented like there are some things to work on. Are there any outstanding concerns that you have heading into Friday? Just like, oh man, I hope this doesn't become a problem as the season goes on, or is it just going to be one of those things where it's like we need to see a few games before we start addressing any potential concerns? Just what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I think probably a combination of those things. I think there are definitely some things that if, whether it's from the 2 scrimmage preseason type games or things that we've seen in practice, if you start to see those things right away, these next 3 Friday nights, consistently happening every time, then that is definitely cause for concern. But I do think, our team specifically is going to have to give ourselves some time to see what it all means. This is our first time, being in a situation where so many of our players, could be players that were part of the plan or weren't part of the plan when training camp started. And so when we get our 12 players set, you'll end up having certain strengths and weaknesses based on the players that you have on your roster. Once we start playing games, we'll get a chance to see, how some of those things were, helped us or didn't. So, I just think all of that to say, yeah, we want to be really good at some things right away, but it's definitely going to take us some time to figure out what those things are. Like, what can we be elite at on the defensive end? You can't be the number 1 team at everything in the world defensively, but what are those things we're going to be really, really, really good at on any end? And we'll start to find out some of that on Friday.
Thanks. I only see one more hand. John, did you have one more?
Yeah, I had another one. Has Arella been able to practice yet? What have you seen from her, if she has?
Yeah, no, Arella's been able to practice, full practice today, yesterday. Quite a bit of stuff, but still making sure we were respecting some of the observation period that the league wanted us to follow in terms of protocols. But she's a really talented player. She does a lot of good things on the court, and I think most importantly, she's really just come into our group and and fit in as best you can, right, under the circumstances. So she just deserves a lot of credit for coming in and trying to pick up everything that we were throwing down over the last 3 or 4 or 5 days since she's been around, but the last couple of days kind of being more on the court. She held her own. She definitely is going to be a part of the conversation in terms of, what type of team we want to put together. And I think the thing that we all have to keep in mind is, it's not just about 2021, right? Like when you're putting together a team, and a level of consistency in terms of your organization, the culture, the environment that you want to create and exist in. It's not only about what a player can do for you today, but what she'll be able to possibly do for you tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, maybe. So yes, you do have to think about this season and what the goals and objectives are this year. But especially with the new CBA, you really have to think about how do you put your roster together in a way that allows you to be competitive over the years. Making sure you maintain a certain level of flexibility in your roster, but also have the type of players that allow you to be successful. So, a lot to think about, but I thought Arella did the best job that anybody could possibly do under the circumstances. She definitely did not fall on her face when she was on the court. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes over the next couple of days.
Last question. This one's actually just for LA Sparks. A lot of players said this is one of the most competitive, enjoyable training camps. Just kind of being the last day. If you don't mind, just kind of summarizing 2021 LA Sparks training camp.
Yeah, it was. It was tough to like have it come to an end in a sense. Like players don't necessarily love to practice for 3 hours or 4 hours a day, and we don't really like run them in the ground for 3 or 4 hours. But we're in here for a good first half of the day. I mean, players are arriving as early as 7 and 7:30 for COVID testing, and a lot of the pre-practice and performance things from a strength and conditioning standpoint that we've added in, and then we get to the court work. So it was tough to see it come to a close today. Like I think we all literally were having fun, really competing with one another and for one another. Coaches pushing to make the team better, players pushing to make the team better, but it all still feeling like a team and one group and one family, and that was really special. So regardless of what the decisions are the next couple of days, I think for many of us it felt like this is what training camp is supposed to be. Like anybody that has been here for these 10 practices and these however many days since April 25th, when you take out some off days and a couple preseason games, this is what it's supposed to feel like. Like you're supposed to complete training camp and feel like it took everything you possibly had in order to get to this point. And now I feel more ready for what's to come ahead than not. And I think we'll always remember this group because of how special it was. And I think this group of 14, which became 15 players, a few days ago, they'll be responsible for pushing the Sparks forward. Because we've set a pretty high bar for what training camp is supposed to feel like, and now we know what we have to live up to every time we come in for training camp. So it'll be tough, but we're all better for it.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, thanks.